Hi, this is John from Chicago area. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review of the King Kong 90GT FPV Racer Quad. The quad comes in a tub, and inside the tub or in some of the boxes there they give you 8 propellers, which would be 2 sets, 4 pairs. They're tri-blade and they're 1935 props. You also get some prop protectors, an extra cable for PWM or PPW, and 2 rubber bands to connect it. I bought the almost ready to fly version, so I needed to add a receiver. I bought a FlySky Receiver, the FS A8S, for $9. And I'll be connecting it. You could connect either PPM or the iBus, and I'll be using the iBus connector to connect. You would connect it to the quad on the serial port, which is your UART2. There's 4 cables coming off of there. You'd use 3 of the cables to connect to the iBus receiver. If you were to use PPM, there's another connecting point over here, and to connect to you use the USB port down here to connect to Beta Flight to do the configuration. The motors on here are your King Kong branded, and they're 1103 motors by 7800 kV. The ESCs are on the bottom board here, part of your power distribution board. Above that you have your flight control board, and that's an F3 flight control board. One minor problem is it does not have battery voltage. It doesn't read that, and it doesn't have a buzzer. And then on the top board here is your video transmitter, VTX. It's 25 milliwatt, and it has a linear antenna. Your camera is a 800 line camera. I think it's a CMOS 1/4 inch. The first step in connecting the receiver is to remove the extra wires. On the plug coming off the quad, we have 4 wires. There's black is ground, red is your plus 4 volts, the green is plus 3.3 volts, which you do not need for this transmitter, and then the yellow is your signal. Likewise, on my actual receiver, you have the same black wire, which is your ground. Your red is your plus 4 volts. Your white is your signal for iBus, and your yellow is your signal for PPM. So I do not need the yellow wire on this. So what we do is we take the plug off. We want to take the green wire off. So that's the second one in. Pull out. Okay. Then on the receiver itself, we got this extra yellow wire is for parts per million protocol. Got it? Nope, not yet. Then I use my fingernail to strip the wire. I'll just kind of dig that in and pull. Okay. Next step would be to tin those. Well, let's get the other 3 going. Cut that about here. It'd be probably twice as long as we need, but okay, so those are stripped. It'd be nice if they made the cables or gave you cables that would plug into both sides. They give those connectors for pins, which no one uses anymore. It'd be nice if they gave you a second set. You wouldn't. Okay. Just use the barrel. It's hot enough to shrink them. Okay, red, black, and yellow and white connected. Okay. Now that I got the wires connected, the next step is to take some two-sided tape, hobby tape. Put that on the receiver. I'll go underneath both. Let me go underneath both rubber bands here. Has a 300-meter range, which I've gotten out past 200 meters and have had no problems with. Let's press down. Be nice if that was a little deeper, but the battery should fit in there okay. Okay, to bind the receiver to the radio transmitter, you set up a model, which I did. I just copied one of my other ones. Then you hold the bind button down and turn the radio on. It's in binding mode right now. The other trick now is to hold the little bind button down. Let's see. It's nice to have two people doing this. Will you plug this in? Hopefully I held that down and it's bound. Try the fail-safe. Fail-safe works. Okay. Next step is to connect the Beta Flight to it and make sure all the settings are okay. They provide you with a real nice USB cable. It's small enough to get into places. So you plug that in on the side there, so it's connected to the computer. Your next step is to connect it to Beta Flight. You hit the connect button. Okay, looks like it connected it. Okay, front seems green is on the front. Let's see, let me just reset that. Okay, so green is forward, back. Seems to be everything is in the right orientation. Quad's connected to Beta Flight. The first step on the first tab would be to calibrate the accelerometers. I put this on a glass so it'll stay level. Then we'll go over to the screen here. Okay, just says calibrate. Okay, that's finished. That's all you need to do on the first tab. The next tab is ports. UART2, you want to make sure its serial is checked. And I already saved it, but you could just save and reboot. Okay, so then you go to the configure tab. Okay, it's configured for multi-shot. I think we're okay. The other thing that you want to make sure you got clicked is serial base receiver, and then you want to make sure you have iBus. I think mine defaulted to Spectrum 1024. So I clicked on the iBus, then you hit save and reboot down in the right hand corner. Okay, it says there's a VBAT, or it's programmed for VBAT, but I don't think there is a VBAT on it. So that's the configuration tabs. The PIDs, I'm leaving it whatever it came with, just to see if the default numbers work good. Okay, we got the receiver tab. The receiver, the battery needs to plug in for this to work, I'm pretty sure. Okay, you need AETR format or protocol, and then the auxiliaries are 1, 2, 3, 4. That's aileron, elevator, throttle, and rudder. Throttle. Okay, pitch. Okay, 200 to 100. Okay, roll 200 to 100, and yaw. Okay, 1,000 to almost 2,000. Oh, sure. Okay, let's see. Throttle 2,000 down to 1,020 is my minimum. Okay. Auxiliary 1 is on the 3-position switch. And then auxiliary 2 is my is on my right switch, and switch D. So looks like everything is set on the receiver. Next step would be to go down to modes. Okay, I'm arming with a switch, so yeah, that'd be auxiliary 2 I'm arming with. And then angle is auxiliary 1 when it's on the up position. Middle position puts it into horizontal, and the third one is over here, which is acro. If there's nothing listed, it's acro. I'd set the beeper. I normally set a beeper in here, but there's no beeper tab or no beeper, so I'm going to not do that. Next step is you go to motors. We'll just run the motors to see what they sound like. Oh yeah, you got to say that propellers are off, and I understand danger. Wow, it's nice and smooth. Okay, what you want to do in the motor tab is you unplug the quad battery. You want to calibrate the ESCs. You turn that all the way up. Plug in the, let me zoom back out a little bit. Okay. Okay, I move the tab to the up position to full throttle. We plug the battery in. ESCs are making a little noise. And then you take the throttle, bring it down to 0. Wait for the acknowledgement to finish and unplug it. So the ESCs are calibrated now. They should all start at the same throttle. Plug them in and try that again. Okay. Whoa. Yeah. There we go. They're all running at about 130 or 1,030. So it looks like they're pretty even. So we're set to put propellers on and fly. Okay, we'll disconnect. That's all there is to beta flight. Okay, the next step is to install your propellers. They give you an extra set of them. The ones with the R go on your upper left and lower right. Way to tell is the propellers have a small cup in there. The cupping part is down, and the front, which is motor 4 and motor 1, the back, they go clockwise, so the motor is spinning like a clock. So you want this propeller to have the slope so it cuts into the wind to pull it up. Then the other two motors have counterclockwise propellers that also they're spinning toward the center, so they would have the angle going the opposite way. So what you end up doing is putting these on. I also bought some a little bit bigger propellers. These are the DYS 2030s, where these are the 1935s. These are a little bit larger, a little bit more durable. I'll put the link down below for these propellers, but I thought I'd use the ones that came with it to begin with. And the all-up weight, including the battery, is 69 grams. The thrust of the motors are also 69 grams each, so it's a power-to-weight ratio of 4:1. The power-to-weight ratio of 4:1 is great. My 5-inch quads are 8 to 9, and my 3-inch quads are 3.3 to 7.3. Let's do another punch test here. So small, it gets out of sight so quick. Light, nimble. This is the FPV portion of the review. I'll give you some of my thoughts on this. I can see why these brushless micros are quite the rage. They are fun to fly. I have 6 130 millimeter quads that I fly, and that's the size that I love the best so far, but this is a real contender. Now I'm flying out to the ball diamond from my deck. That's 120 meters, and then I'm going over to the basketball court, which is 150 meters from my deck. After about 5 flights, I broke my FPV camera by trying to adjust the focus so it would focus further in the distance instead of about 6 inches away. When I did that, I had a spare all-in-one camera with a 200 megawatt transmitter, and I put that on. This is what you're seeing here. It also has a circular polarized antenna instead of the linear whip antenna. As a result, I could get almost 300 meters of video transmission versus maybe 60 to 120 with the original camera. The linear antennas for this type of a model because they stand up a lot better to crashes, but the 25 milliwatt power is not really enough for long distance outdoor flying. It works great in the house, but not outdoors. You should really have a 200 milliwatt transmitter. Area where this quad is lacking a little bit is it doesn't have a buzzer. You could get by the voltage detector or indicator by just setting a timer. That seems to work good. Battery lasts about 5 minutes. If you set the timer for 4 minutes, it gives you time to get back and still have enough voltage. But the real problem is when you crash and you land in some weeds. This is extremely hard to find. It's 90 millimeters from propeller to propeller, and it's hard to find without a buzzer on it. The ESCs will chirp after about 5 minutes. The other thing to aid in finding it is record your flights with your But enough on the negatives. This is a fun FPV quad that you can fly almost anywhere, indoors, backyards, and small parks. It is very non-intrusive. In fact, I was flying along a path and I saw somebody up ahead about 50 yards or 40 yards. I pulled off the path and went around her. And when she walked up to me, she said she thought it was a large dragonfly that went by. Is fast and agile. In fact, one reviewer said he clocked one on a radar gun at 55 miles an hour. There should be a way to set up a buzzer. I haven't figured that out yet, but if you could figure that out, this would make a good quad for a beginner or any experienced flyer. I bought my quad from MyRC Mart. I've been attached the link in the description below. I paid $90 plus another $8 shipping, and then I bought the receiver for another $9. But I also put the link for Banggood. Their price right now is $105, and GearBis is $131, and you'd have to buy the receiver also. But those prices change daily. Also put a link for the DYS 2030 propellers, which work great. I haven't broken one of those yet versus the original ones that came with. I broke 5 of them within the first 4 flights. It's nice how this quad will hit small gaps. That tunnel right there, it's hard to walk through. You got to duck to make it. But it has no problems making it. The other thing are gates. If you're going to get good at FPV, you should be doing gates. Instead of going through a 20-foot span between 2 trees to hit a 4-foot gate, takes a lot more skill and practice. So if you're going to be good, do yourself a favor and set up a couple gates to practice with. I have a video that I showed how to make a $15 gate out of 2 pool noodles. These here are a little bit cheaper. The one you see here are made out of 3 pool noodles from the dollar store for $1 each, and some PVC, half-inch PVC pipe. So for about $7 you can make one of these gates, and they work great. Recommend the King Kong 90GT. Pick one up if you can, and thanks for watching my video. If you have any questions, please leave your comments below, and that's how to stick a landing.